right, we are here. Big episode, in my opinion, because of the performance you just put on this year. Secret York, our coworker, and most importantly, Co-Angler of the Year for the Lady Bass Anglers Association. How are you?
I'm good. Soaking it in. It's been what, 4 days since you were announced? Yeah.
Co-Angler of the Year this year for, I guess, I call it the regular season. I don't know what the technical term is, but
That's
I say
right.
regular season. You won the Classic on the Co-Angler side last year, so standards were pretty high, I would say, coming into this year. Did you have a plan, or at least like a bar that you set for yourself going into this year that you were like, you know what, I did well last year. Let's see what I can do this year.
Of course, the main plan or your goal is to make it to the Classic Championship.
Sure.
So that's the top. I think they take the top 12 to 15.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, winning one, that's your second goal probably. And then Angler of the Year would be the ultimate.
And you had 4 events this year. You didn't have a single one where you weren't on the podium. You know, the first 2, you were both third, and then you just ended up winning both Table Rock and Guntersville. Yeah. So pretty dominant performance, I would say. Whenever you went into this season, you were obviously like, I'm going to try to make the Classic, but did you even expect you to win Co-Angler of the Year this year? No. Where would you say you had yourself comfortably at the beginning of the year, just going into it?
Well, I mean, if you can get top 5, you know, that's as far as the point spread, you got a pretty good chance all the way through. You stay in the top 5. And we do have, he takes the top 3 points out of the 4 tournaments. So it's kind of hard to even see where you're standing at until you get to that last tournament.
Right.
Because the points are going to jumble up, you know, a lot until you get in that last tournament by taking your top 3.
I'd say it was pretty safe to say with 2/3 and a first, you knew you're going to the Classic anyway, going into the last one.
Classic, yes. But so I was only ahead by 10 points going into this last tournament over Pam Harwarda. And then by taking your top 3. So when I went to this tournament, my goal was I had to be finished second or better. That's the only way I could improve my points. And then it only improved by 10 points.
Right.
She was basically the same way. She had to finish third or better, maybe second or better. I don't know.
Something like that.
And we'd been right there tied, you know.
What did you say her name was?
Pam.
Yeah.
Halwarda. I can't say it.
Pam Halwarda?
Warda. Yeah.
That makes sense. I got an email from someone that I didn't recognize the name, but it was her asking me to sign a petition to have you not fish the Co-Angler side anymore. How many events have you fished as a Co-Angler in the LBAA?
Well, I fished last year. That was the first time.
So you fished
4 last year and I've done 4 this year.
Yeah. You got a pretty good track record. I think they're going to want you in the front of the boat again.
Well, I've been told I was going to have to go, but
yeah?
Hey, I'm retiring. I'm backing down. So
do they know that?
What?
That you're retiring and you're backing down?
No, well, I mean,
She already did.
I retired from the front of the boat.
Well, okay, got it.
I went about 18 foot back.
Mm-hmm. So how would you describe that change? Because like you said, last year was your first year as a co-angler through the LBAA. The switch over from being in the front of the boat to the back, how is that competition different?
The competition is different because you being a co-angler and drawing a pro partner, a different partner every day, you have absolutely no control of what you're going to be doing or where you're going and you just, no matter how good you do in practice, you're probably not going to be able to fish that way with whoever you draw.
Right.
So it's just.
See, I kind of like that because I fished as a co-angler and I've actually really enjoyed it fishing out of someone else's boat because you only have to focus on, okay, they're going to take me here. How do I catch fish here?
Exactly.
You don't have to worry about, oh, should we go run down the lake?
Exactly.
Should we go do this?
Yep.
Should we go do that? It's okay. We're fishing in 20 foot of water on a rock pile, whatever. What do I need to throw right here to get bit?
That's the trick with it.
You're just at the mercy of whoever's driving.
I mean, you have your strengths and your weaknesses, but you have to be pretty flexible, even though it's something that I don't feel like it's my strength. And I don't particularly like doing it. You have to be flexible to figure out how you personally can get the bite doing what they're doing.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily have to do the same thing. Actually, I usually don't. I don't want to do the same thing that they're doing. So,
So you're at the mercy of them,
yes,
wherever their locations are. But you're saying most of the time you don't even do the same thing they're doing.
And it's challenging. That was my challenge right off the start when my husband and whoever, my son said, you won't last 2 tournaments. You'll be back in the front of the boat.
Ryan said that.
Yeah.
How dare you?
Well, I mean, Secret has a lot of experience. She's got a lot of experience fishing. I mean, how long have you been fishing in the front of the boat?
32 years tournament fishing.
And I was going to say, where all have you fished? But I guess an easier question would be, where haven't you fished in this country?
The northern lakes.
But you've covered everywhere, especially the Southeast, from, I'd say, pretty well every lake from Texas to North Carolina.
Right. And some multiple times.
Yeah.
So of the lakes, let's just circle back into this year. So you've had 4 events: Toledo Bend, right? Toledo Bend, Bull Shoals, Table Rock, and then Gunnersville this weekend. Right. What was in your opinion, your favorite lake to fish on? Or at least the one you had the best experience on?
Probably Bull Shoals. I mean, that's always been one of my favorite lakes.
Mm-hmm.
And I drew Linda Gessner there. I seemed to keep drawing her. We fished the Classic last year because you fish 2 days. You come out if I'm leading on the co-angler side to fish into the 3rd day. And then she's leading. Well, then me and her are paired together. And if you're in 4th, you go with the 4th place bowler. Right. So me and her fished together the last day, and we both won it. So we kind of made the joke. I said, hey, Linda, wherever you go, I'm going. So I won it. So then I drew her for this tournament. And I was awesome, but and she done something pretty unique probably for her because she don't do that kind of stuff. And it was a total first-time learning experience for me. And, she told me everything she's doing, showed me how to do it. I picked it up pretty quick, and we both won. So
right. So
that would be the most rewarding and the most, because it was something new that I hadn't done.
Mm-hmm. So let's go on the other side of the spectrum then. What was the most challenging lake this season for you?
Probably Toledo Bend, because we had severe storms. There's times we had to slide the boat up on the bank and let the lightning bounce around us. You had to kind of plan your day around the storms coming in. The rough water, that lake's unpassable. Right. And it gets really stormy because they got marked trails, and you have to go down the trails. It don't matter which way the waves go. That's another thing from my experience of running a boat and stuff. I have not been in any water that I couldn't make it back. I might get really wet and take it time, and right. And every boat I had, I would go out and I know exactly what that boat would do before I ever got anything like that. So now I have to jump in a boat with somebody else, and that's terrifying.
Yeah,
I mean,
you gotta trust them.
Yes, it's terrifying. And so, I knew the storms were coming and stuff, and you just hope and pray that they can handle that boat and get you back. And I apologized on stage after a couple of them. I said, I apologize to all my co-anglers over the years what I've put you through, because I know it had to be pretty bad at sometimes.
Who is your travel partner's name?
Heather Broom.
You travel with Heather Broom, and she came in on Gunnersville first.
Yep.
You came in first on the co-angler side.
That's correct.
So
they won practice as well.
They did.
Yeah.
That's what she was telling me today. She sent you pictures of her practice.
He said, we're winning practice.
So my question is, where and how many fish did you guys plant to both win first? No, I'm just
No, they were
You're
already
going to get an admission right here on video.
They were planted. They done planted there. We just sit there and looked at them.
bring in the polygraph.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. I mean, that's a heck of a tournament for both of you. She qualified for the Classic as well.
Yes, she did.
So,
she was on the bubble coming into this tournament.
Mm-hmm.
So she had to do pretty well.
I don't think she could have done any better.
No. and when we practice together, it's we're setting her up because like I said, it doesn't really matter what I do, but it helps me to figure out the bite in several different kinds of fishing of styles of fishing that then I'll be ready when they throw it at me. But nobody would believe the fish that we could see. We were fishing 2 to 5 foot of water over hydrilla, and the next to the last day we fished half a day. We had 19 pounds, would have been our biggest. We had a 19-pound day and a 14-pound day. And then we quit fishing. We didn't even wet a line after that for the rest of the half day. We just cruised around areas she wanted to check, and you could see them. I say, well, there's a limit, and she said, well, I got a limit up here. Just see them cruising around, and wouldn't even throw a line on them. And then the last day we didn't much. She actually went out a couple of hours that morning and checked a couple of areas that she wanted to go make sure they were back there. And she was in at 9:30, and I went and picked her up. She said, we're good. So.
Right. So I guess I have a more of a perspective question. So going back to talking about how you practice versus her practicing. So her practicing is she has to find her locations, what to throw and everything like that. How does that communication between you and her versus what you guys actually do?
So she kind of made the joke. So I would say I wasn't going to be there till Wednesday, for practice or whatever. She said, oh, no. She said, you're my bottom dragger. She likes to fish top swimming baits and stuff in the water, moving through the water fast. And that's just her preference. And then I like to drag slow, deep water or in shallow water, but I still like to be on the bottom and stuff. She teased me down her bottom dragger. But so in turn, we're practicing together. I'm figuring out a little something different than she's figuring out. And then you put that together.
Right.
Which in this practice, that lake is famous for the ledge bite. It's famous for the frog bite, the top one. But good luck getting a ticket to get on the ledge there. There's just lines and lines of boats on it. And throw the big jigs, the Carolina rigs. I think they throw the spoon a little bit. Most of the stuff like that. And I tried all that. It didn't work. It didn't work for me. So I ended up out with a drop shot, and I could catch one just about every other cast, which is a tiny, tiny little finesse type. And in that grass, it's not real comfortable throwing 8-10 pound tennis line in that grass, but you just had to work it through and you'd get bit. And she knew that was kind of her backup plan. And I told her, she said, if I go down the lake and I see you out here on the ledge, I'll know that it got real bad up there and that other stuff. And she never looked at no ledge. So, and then she had her first day, she had 1970 something.
Yeah.
So that was about our best day. That's about what we had was 19 pounds.
Did you have to deal with that floating eelgrass?
Oh, yes.
Miserable.
Yes. They mow that grass.
Yeah.
They got mowers. He's looking at me like I'm crazy. No, really. There were these
John Deere riding mowers, and they're
under the grass.
They put enough air in the tires so it floats, and you just go right over the surface of the water.
That's the truth. And it cuts that grass. It cuts it.
It's kind of the truth. Except for the John Deere mower thing.
Yeah, I got that part. Yeah, I got that part.
It cuts it a couple of feet under the water. I mean, they can't kill it, and it's just choking everything down.
I believe that.
Yeah, well,
not you.
It cuts it, and then it's floating loose on the top. Some of it pulls up by the roots, and then they got a sweeper that comes along behind them that sweeps it all up. And I don't know where they take it and dump it, or if they actually take it out and put it on a bar. I don't know what they do with it, but
seems like they miss quite a bit of it.
Yeah, it gets loose. She actually put a video on her page. She stopped at the end of our last practice day and just retied all her stuff and everything, sit out there, put her power poles down, sit out there. and it was clean water. The wind blows it all around. You can get some clean spots. But if you're in a spot that it said you're not flipping anything through the top of that to go
you can
through.
be out on the river channel.
And here it comes.
And it's just like a floating mat just sitting there. Like you can't make a cast.
So she's done all of her thing. And then she, raised up. She said it was completely surrounded her boat. And she took a video. She went up there. She said, well, when you get still, there's no eelgrass, but then it finds you. She raised up her trolling motor and she couldn't even raise her trolling motor. It was so caked.
Oh, Lord.
And she said she had to keep raising her power poles up and down to try to shake it off her power poles.
Gross.
We've got a fix for that now for the trolling motor.
It worked on the prop, but it don't work on all the other
head.
attachments that are hanging down.
Live scope and
wait, what are you talking about? What attachment?
The Ninja grass blade.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. So do you have a plan? As of recording today, we're 104 days away from the Classic.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of hard to say now, but I want to know, do you have a pre-existing plan of what you want to do on Grand Lake?
I do.
Okay.
Because me finishing first and Linda Gessner finishing first, we're going to be paired together the first day.
Right.
And she's famous for being we call her the frogging woman. She's a frogger. And I said, okay. I said, because that's what we done the first day with her here. And I said, is this frog going to work on Grand Lake at that time? And she said, yes, ma'am. So I had 3 frogs to my name when I went there. And I don't know which one does what or what.
Your son would be disappointed in you.
I know. Well, the only one really that I had was the one that he used for years around here. And that wasn't work. So, but anyway, I ended up with a little bitty tiny small one because Linda usually throws that, but she didn't have it. She didn't have it tied on. And when I got the boat and made my first cast, she said, that little frog hadn't been working very good here. But I had a limit and called twice within 30 minutes on that little frog that didn't seem to work very good.
Man. So you're going to be sticking to frogs.
So we're going to be throwing frogs. We'll start out that way. I don't know how to end up. Mm-hmm. She'll practice, and she'll figure it out.
So that's all the questions I had for you, unless Ryan, you have anything else. I do want to ask you if he doesn't have anything else. By chance.
I mean, just, I think that kind of covers all of it. Just wanted to talk about your year and, wish you luck, obviously, at the Classic.
You've had an amazing year. I have been very excited for every single tournament because I've watched the results roll in every day. It's been awesome watching you. Take podium every single time you weighed in this year. I look forward to the Classic. I know all of us are. Can you? This is not related to that, but can you tell the coffee story? The coffee sponsorship story.
Oh, what is it? It's open air coffee. Mm-hmm. There's actually I think he's a professional wrestler or something that has this coffee. So Heather, my travel partner, she's like, she has to have her coffee in the morning. It's just has to have it. So we got on, is that Bull Shoals? No, Table Rock, I think.
Was this year?
Yes.
Okay.
And Shad Spawn was just fixing to go on. And she said, hey, I've got to be at this spot when the sun comes up, first light. I have to be there for that shad spawn. And then she said, so we got to get down there, get in the boat, be in the water. And she said, I have to be down there. Well, she has to have her coffee. She has to go 22 miles and she has to be on that spot all at the same time. So we were literally sitting down in the boat on the water, waiting for it to get light enough to go. And finally it's light enough and we go. And so I'm kind of laying down in the boat and she's over there just driving, sipping her coffee. And I took a video of it and it kind of like went crazy. So this guy, the guy that runs our tour, he got in contact with the fellow that had this open air coffee. So now they're trying to work out maybe a little sponsorship there with it. And when she gets in the boat, she's going to have her big mug of coffee.
Part of her morning routine.
Yes. Oh yeah. Don't keep her from her coffee.
Be a good brand representative there.
Yep.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yep.
Maybe they'll send her a couple Carpa decals or something. Well, Secret, thank you for coming on. I've been looking forward ever since Saturday, you coming on and talking about this. And I look forward to seeing you on Grand Lake. So
yeah, I'm looking forward to getting that one. Ryan Jordan's going to help me a little bit on that one.
I like that lake. I like that lake a lot.
Do you?
Reminds me a lot of Barkley.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Well, I look forward to it. Maybe you'll be 2-time back-to-back co-angler champ. That would be awesome to see.